Back to the AB² Experience. We're glad you're here.
So today we're going to be talking about something all couples eventually have to talk about: money. So, what about it?
Well, should couples share a bank account or should they keep them separate?
So my thoughts are, once you're married, you probably should, but let me say this first. We're not financial advisors, so we're just kind of talking through our experiences and what we think, if you should share bank accounts, if you shouldn't, and how we're choosing to go about it.
So guys, grab yourself a beverage and sit back and let's talk about it.
So you're asking me if I think couples should share bank accounts?
Yes, I'm asking you, do you think couples should share a bank account?
I believe so. I believe, bank accounts should be shared. All the money comes in, all the money is collective, and then you take care of everything that's needed collective. I'll also say that I think that you should still have your own separate account, because there are times and things that you need funds of your own. Like, for example, if you're trying to surprise me and buy something and we have a joint account, then it's no surprise because I know you bought it from, right? So I do think that you should still have an individual account, but there should definitely be a joint account.
So what happens when, one spouse makes more than the other?
It's still a collective account. You just pour into the account and you pay out of the account from what's in there. What do you think?
Well, you know what my thoughts are. I think there should be different accounts. You know what I mean? I've heard of some guys with bad experiences. They break up, and next thing you know, their whole bank account got wiped out. So I'm straddling the fence when it comes down to that.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I know that there are some ladies that the same thing has happened to. So it's not just a guy thing. It's not just these ladies are wiping out these guys' accounts. There's ladies that are getting their accounts wiped out as well. So that being said, my thought was that, hey, have a collective joint account, but you still have your separate accounts.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. When you have your separate accounts, does your spouse have access to that account, or does they know what's in that account?
I think in transparency, you could share that information. You could choose not to. That's up to the relationship.
Gotcha.
I'm a true believer in transparency. So I'm a true believer that, hey, this is what I have here.
Gotcha.
That's the way I feel. What do you think?
Well, I've never shared a bank account with anyone. So, like I said, when it comes down to finances like that, I'm straddling the fence, y'all. I'm not gonna even lie, But yeah, I think that transparency is good to have. Who knows? We get married here in a few months, so maybe once we get married, then I'll feel a little bit better about it, guys. But right now, it's like, oh my goodness.
So do you think that, because sometimes I think the fear out there is that, if, what are you doing with the funds that are in your account? Sometimes people are like, well, what are you doing with the funds that are in your account? How do I know what you're doing with that money? What are your thoughts on that? Should you tell your spouse or significant other what you're doing with funds that are in your account, or should you just be like, look, they're the funds in my account, it's not your business?
Oh, wow. What a topic. What do y'all think about that one? Let us know down in the comments.
Please do. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what your thoughts are on the topics that we talk about, or if there's something you guys want us to talk about. Because I'm curious to know, should your significant other know how you spend your money? If you guys have separate accounts, how you spend your money that's in those separate accounts, or also if you have a collective account, how do you decide what gets paid out of that account?
That's a good one. That's a good one. Let us know, guys. Let us know.
Y'all see how you avoided that? So what I was saying, now you want to ask y'all. So what I was saying though is, how do you decide? You know, do you tell your significant other like, hey, you know, this is what I spent out of my account or whatever? Or do you feel like, hey, it's my account, I don't have to tell you anything?
Well, I feel like you should tell them. You know, hey, can I phone a friend? Help me.
Does said friend have a joint account or not?
Help me. But no, I feel like you should let your spouse know what it is. But the fear that I've had with the sharing the actual account is like I said, I've heard some stories, y'all. Man, I can sit here and tell y'all. I've heard some stories. I've seen some things. So personally, no, I've never shared an account with anyone. So when we have these conversations, I know she wants to. She's been telling me about it for a year, and I say, okay, and I haven't done it yet. But you know, I'm getting there. I'm getting there, y'all.
Okay. Well, let me say this. So, funny story is that, you know, yeah, we talked about joint accounts, and I remember because of an experience with me in the past, I remember saying I would never ever share an account with somebody again. So, you know, giving it a lot of thought, and just when I think about, you know, like collectively, the bills that we pay collectively, instead of it being like, okay, I'm going to send this portion, I'm going to send that portion, whatever the case may be, you know, having to do that when it's just one account, then you can just say, okay, it's paid that way. And speaking of bills that are split and things like that, what do you think about, should a man pay all the bills and the lady just pay for vacations? Or do you think a 50-50 thing works? Or is the way bills are split based on income?
Well, I feel like with bills is based on how you guys set that up. You know, some men feel like, hey, I'm the man, I'm the provider, I'm gonna pay all of everything. And some women like, pay him, you know.
Please.
But
Don't let me stop you.
But you have some people who feel like 50-50 is the way to go. You know, hey, we're able to save some money like this. And you know, that's fine too. So I feel like when it comes down to it, it's whatever you decide to do in your relationship.
That's absolutely true, you know, because what works in one household, you know, one household may say, you know, this person pays all the bills. And it's not always the male that pays all the bills. You know, there are people who, you know, the wife makes more money, or and the dad may be at home. You know, he's at home, he takes care of the kids, he handles these things, he works from home, but maybe he doesn't make as much. And so the wife says, I'll take care of the brunt of the bills. But that's how it works for their household. Another family may say, you know, we're going to split it 50-50 and we can save, and then we'll split vacations 50-50. We'll just do everything 50-50. You know, for me, because I was single so long, I love 50-50. I'm not even going to lie. I love 50-50 because now I don't have to pay all my bills all by myself. You know, I love 50-50. I'm okay with 100 and 0.
100 0?
Yes, 100 and 0 is, you know, you pay all the bills and then I just sit back and, you know, look cute. So,
well, I'm telling y'all now, guys, that ain't gonna happen.
You don't think so?
Well, we'll see what happens once we get our subscribers up. Maybe, you know, we make a little change or something. Maybe, you know, we can make some changes, then we can do that.
Who am I marrying, y'all? No. So, okay, and so I'm going to say this to that. So, I think one good thing to do in relationship is to discuss what works for those two people. Because to assume can cause a problem, you know, but to discuss, to sit down and say, hey, this is where I'm at, this is what I have. Hey, this is where I'm at, this is what I have, this is what I'm capable of, whatever the case may be. I think that conversation is always the best route to go, because if you don't have that conversation, for example, if we don't have a conversation and I'm thinking 100 to 0, and I'm like, and you say, well, hey, where's your half? And I'm like, hey, it's not half. This is a 100 to 0. You know, if we don't have that conversation, then, you know, both of us are frustrated. You know, I'm frustrated because I thought you were doing 100%. And you're frustrated because you're like, I don't know who you think is paying all the bills, you know, and every time I turn around, you want to shop, you know. So, anyway, I do think that that's an important conversation to have, is to talk about money, to talk about, you know, how that relates in what works for your relationship. Right, because what works for us may not work for you, and what works for you may not work for us. Right. So.
Hey, I agree.
The only thing he didn't agree with was that 100 0. I mean, I was happy. I was like, woo, you know. So, so, but I do think that's, you know, a conversation. How soon do you think in a relationship you should have that conversation?
Oh, immediately.
So first date?
I'm not saying first date, but you know, once y'all get together or you decide things change, you decide that you want to move in together, then I think that conversation needs to be had before you cross that bridge.
That's a great idea. And you know, when he says that, we did have that conversation. When we started talking about moving in together, I started saying things like, okay, so how are we going to do this bill situation? You know, these are my thoughts about it. What are your thoughts about it? Because I'm a believer that I can assume all I want. I can walk around and say, this is what we're going to do. But unless I talk to him, I have no idea what we're going to do, because his thoughts on something may be totally different from mine. So.
Right.
So at the point of moving in together, then you should definitely have that conversation. Do you think that, because a lot of people, when you start talking about money, start talking about credit, do you think that people should talk about credit before they move in together, after they move in together? When is that a thing?
No, I think before they move in. You know, when you and I got together, hey, I threw all my cards on the table, something I've never done before in my life, you know.
I was like, what are you doing? It was like, he started having this conversation with me, and I said, in my mind, I was thinking, it's like he just got naked in the street.
That's how I felt.
That's what it felt like to me. I was like, man, it's just like he just told me everything, you know. So, and I thought that was really cool. I honestly had never had a conversation with somebody before about, like, what is your financial situation? I had never had that conversation with somebody before, and I have been single a long time, so it was like, wow, this is new. And then he said, well, I've never done this before. I'm like, me either, you know. So I think that foundation, although we haven't done joint accounts yet, when we had that conversation about credit, and when we had the conversation about, you know, how will bills get paid? What happens if, you know, what happens if one of us gets sick and, you know, we can't do this, blah, blah. We talked about all of those things. We talked about saving and how, you know, we talked about saving.
And
I like to shop.
investing.
Saving and investing. And so, because I really, really like to shop. And so one of the conversations we had, did we have one conversation about saving, about me saving? Oh, multiple.
Multiple conversations. Multiple conversations, guys.
I was like, why is he always talking to me about saving? Why don't you talk about something else? Can we talk about shopping? How many bags can I save? You know? So, do you feel like, well, let me back up. Have you ever talked to somebody before, like, about, like, hey, you need to be saving?
My kids.
Okay.
Yeah, I talk to my kids about savings all the time.
Because I was like, why is he talking to me about saving? I got it. You know, I do a little something here and there. But I think it was a great conversation to have, and it really laid the foundation for things, expectations in the relationship. Because if you don't talk about money on the front side, you definitely gonna talk about it on the back side. Things do happen, life happens, and then all of a sudden you got a money situation sometimes.
Right.
So, I'm a believer, let me back up, I'm a believer in joint accounts, but having those still having those individual accounts with transparency. And then, I'm a believer that you should have those conversations about finances and how things will be taken care of. So, you know, that's my thoughts.
So guys, let us know what your thoughts are. Let us know down in the comments. Should couples share accounts, or should you have your own separate account?
We're gonna see. We're gonna keep y'all posted on, you know, because we're a couple months out. I mean, we're like just a little over 100 days to wedding. I don't know. Do we get the joint account before or after? So, do we get the joint account before or after? Like, I don't know.
I'm on the fence, guys. I'm on the fence. Let me know what I should do.
He gonna say, let's get a joint account. We can put $2 in it and leave me alone. There's $2 in the joint account. Go away. That's what you gonna say?
No, I'm not gonna say that.
Okay. So we'd like to know from you guys if y'all decided, you know, to have joint accounts, and if you don't have joint accounts, how is it working for you? Not having those joint accounts, having those individual accounts, does it make things easier for you every month, or is it kind of like a pain? Because we know that there's tons of different apps out there. You know, you can Zelle money across real quick. You can log in and make payments to the same thing. So all of those things are available, but does it make it easier, make it harder? And is transparency, for those of you who have individual accounts, does the transparency help with that? So we'll see if we're gonna get this joint account. I don't think it's a let me say this. I don't think not having the joint account it's not a deal breaker. I just think it makes things easier. But I can say this, I also understand when you have lived and been independent and not shared things with someone for so long, like we both have, then it's like, I don't need that, you know, so I definitely understand it. I just think on the side of things being much easier, that's what works for me. Instead of, you know, hey, we got one account, everything comes out of, and it's just done. That helps me sleep at night because I don't have to think about, okay, let me send this, let me do this. I don't have to do all those million things.
So as y'all see, her mind is wandering, and she's going on and on and on and on. So let us know what y'all think. So we're gonna let y'all go. We're gonna go pay some bills. Have a good night.